Hi, hello, welcome to Dragon Ball Kai. Someone requested on my last video that I review the Hindi dub or the Dragon Ball Z Kai situation on Cartoon Network. I had no idea what they were talking about, but I knew that a new version of the show, a new Hindi dub of the show of Dragon Ball Z Kai was airing on Cartoon Network. And I decided that on a random day I would just check it out, and I did. I checked it out, and I had a lot of things to say about it. So I thank you for your suggestion. I'm gonna feature you somewhere over here. I have pointers here that I want to talk about. There are a lot of points that stood out to me for this production. So how I'm gonna approach this video is that it's gonna be a two-parter. First, I want to talk about it as a production. I want to talk about the Cartoon Network Audio Magic Hindi dub version of this show as it is airing on Cartoon Network. And then I want to talk about the censorship and the Hindi dub together in part two. So, part one is going to be just overall how the production feels to me. First and foremost, the thing I noticed is that the aspect ratio is 16 by 9, which is how they did it in Japan when it first aired. I think when production started on the show, they had already started working on it in the 4 by 3 aspect ratio. And then something happened wherein they realized we're too late into production to fix it and go for the 16 by 9 thing. So they decided to stretch it out on the TV screen so that without anything important being missing, they could have like a full screen version of the show. I think Orange Bricks from Funimation tried something similar, but it was done in a very careless manner, so you miss out on a lot of picture. But the Japanese version, it's stretched out just a little bit. It, in my opinion, is the right way to watch Dragon Ball Kai. It feels more modern when it's in 16 by 9 aspect ratio, at least to me. Where I feel the Cartoon Network version fumbled, despite being in the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, is that it's not full screen. There are black bars on the top and the bottom. Now, that's funny to me because I remember when Toonami India was airing Dragon Ball Super, the Bang Zoom dub. They had these black bars on the top and bottom. When the re airings of the Bang Zoom dub were happening on Cartoon Network, it had a full screen version. It was in full screen. There were no black bars anywhere. And Super was made in the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, widescreen, full screen aspect ratio. So it was like weird that Toonami did it, but then when Cartoon Network got it back in the right aspect ratio, or at least like it was better to have that aspect ratio, I was pretty happy with it. I could still sense that there is something missing. I could still sense that maybe we're missing out on a little bit of the picture, but that could be because it was in 480p and not HD. When I checked out Dragon Ball Super on Cartoon Network HD, I think it looks exactly like it's supposed to look. The English dub is airing right now from Funimation. It's not the Bang Zoom dub; it's the original dub with Sean Shabelle and everyone. So it's great. I've been like tuning in every now and then, but I don't really like watch it religiously. The second thing that I wanted to point out is the script itself is definitely adapted from the English dub. They've taken a lot of liberty because, at the end of the day, it is a Hindi dub. So they've made it a little more local. They've localized it. And that's a good thing. But at the same time, they're not like being nostalgic and using their own old Dragon Ball Z scripts from 2006 or something. They're using the new English dub Funimation scripts, which are great. I feel like the writing there was really, really good. And I would say, at least in the final chapters, the writing was better than the original Japanese version. I think Funimation really, really killed it with the writing in the final chapters. So I'm really looking forward to how, the Hindi dub goes with it, because there are a lot of areas in the Buu saga where Goku's lines are powerful and emotional.
Babidi was cruel and treated Boo like a slave. Seems Boo finally had enough.
We saved the Earth without any more fighting.
Wishful thinking.
So if that they're able to capture that, I'll be really happy with the product. The opening theme was interesting. They did not have any credits in the opening theme. They used the clean version, creditless version of the opening theme. They didn't, give credits to the voice actors who were in the show, which is odd to me. While I love watching the creditless version, at the end of the day, I feel like they should have taken the efforts to put in the names of the people who are, in the show, because voice actors need recognition. And there are huge people on the show, so it was odd that that didn't happen. But there is a reason behind it, and I'll get to that later. So, by the end of this video, while I do explain part of the reason why it doesn't happen, in hindsight, I think they must have skipped out on it for one reason. At least the crediting part is because the release came out in 5 different regional languages. So, which one do they go with? Do they just give attention to the Hindi voice actors? Do they not give attention to the others? I think that's where the concern must have come in. The one tidbit I really enjoyed was the brand sponsor thing. The a bit that always happens after the opening theme plays and before the recap. If you were watching Dragon Ball Super when it was first airing in 2015, if you were watching the Japanese episodes, there was a portion in between where Goku would say something like Dragon Ball Super, brand sponsor Bandai Namco Entertainment, something he would say along those lines. That was happening in Kai as well, and they have kept that portion with that music. It's a really different version of the opening theme. It's a very instrumental, melodic. It's a very melodious version. I don't know which the right word is. The melody that plays is of the original opening theme, and it's really, I like that bit. They've kept it without any brand sponsor, but they've just kept it. And I somehow really enjoyed that. I don't know why, because we never got to see that portion in any of the English dub airings. At least the time when I watched the English dub, they always remove that part in the DVDs, whatever ripped versions that I watched. Another odd thing was the title credits are empty. So, like, the titles of the episodes, like Goku's Return, Reach on Time and Save Your Friends, Goku, some stuff like that. The narrator would always say. So, whatever the episode title is in the Hindi version, it's not written. It's empty. So it feels a little odd because you're like, am I missing out on something? Did my TV freeze? And that's what's happening, I guess. I guess they put a freeze frame over there, and when the English titles or the Japanese titles appear, like they fizzle in. It never happens, or rather, they must have gotten the clean version and they never bothered to put in the titles. This also happened for a reason, and I will explain it. Regarding the music, they have not used the Yamamoto version of the music because I think after the whole controversy, Toei has basically abandoned Yamamoto version of it. If you don't know what the Yamamoto controversy is, just Google it, Yamamoto Dragon Ball Z Kai, and you'll understand exactly what happened. And when the controversy first came out, I think Japan was on its 97th episode in the Cell game saga when Gohan had almost beaten Cell. The English dub was still on the Namek saga or the Android saga, and they basically had to switch. When they were airing it on Nicktoons, they had to switch to this Kikuji music, which was given to them at the last minute. And I remember in 2014 or 18, I don't know when it was. It was one of, I don't know which year, but Dragon Ball Z Kai was airing on Adult Swim in Toonami in the US, and the first episode accidentally used Yamamoto music instead of Kikuchi. And there was a huge controversy, and they explained themselves, and they were like, from now on, it'll just be Kikuchi music. And that's what happened. I love the Kikuchi soundtrack. I loved it in Dragon Ball Z. I preferred it over the Bruce Falconer music. I preferred it over all the other versions. I loved how it was used in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the video game. I don't particularly love it in Kai because it feels incredibly misplaced. Kai is a very fast paced version of Dragon Ball Z. The music is meant to be for a slower version of the show, and it doesn't fit. I wish that they had done something else. I wish they had just been like, it's fine, we'll use this music that Yamamoto created. Because honestly, it fit. The Yamamoto version of Kai music was so good. I know it was ripped off from a lot of huge artists in America, but it was good. It was really good and it fit the show so well, the pacing of the show. And it's heartbreaking to know that, because of this little controversy thing, we lost out on some great tracks, a great version of the show. The Kikuchi version, there's a reason why it doesn't work besides the pacing of it. It's also the fact that there's very limited soundtracks made available. There's a lot of soundtracks that Kikuchi used to use that are just not available. I don't know what the issue is. They don't have the original music, or there's some licensing issue, but the soundtrack is like very minimal, and you just end up hearing the same soundtrack over and over again. And that's kind of weird because Kikuchi used to go out of his way to make like as many soundtracks as possible, different versions of it as possible for different emotions. It was well thought out. And now it just feels like, a copy paste thing. Like, oh, this scene, angry Goku, okay, we'll use this intense soundtrack. Emotional scene, we'll use this soundtrack. It all feels very one note. There are a lot of versions out there made by fans that use the Yamamoto music, their own versions they've done of it. They only had to like do 3 extra episodes because the Japanese version, ripped, is still available with the Yamamoto music somewhere or the other. You'll find it on the internet. Moving on, the first episode airs break free. The second one airs with ads, and I think they air like 3 episodes back to back, and the third one also airs with some ads. They skip the ending theme of the show between the 2 episodes to save time, but they air it after like all the batches of the episodes have aired. So the opening theme will play, and it's the English version that they've used, by the way. The 3 episodes will air back to back, and then they'll have the ending theme, which is a great way to save time. But the next episode previews are available between all the episodes, and so do the recaps. So it's like, just skip it over, just make it a 1 hour special every single day, or 1.5 hour special rather. In terms of the credits, I noticed something odd. It was almost as if they didn't make the credits and they didn't put it in the Yeah Break Care Break, which is the ending theme of the show. So they just put in this zoomed out Excel sheet where you can't even read the names, and it appears for like 1 second. It was a very weird version of the credits. Well, these were some of the things I noticed in the Dragon Ball Kai Hindi dub Cartoon Network versions production. I'll now talk about the reasons why a lot of these titles are missing. It's because Audio Magic, the people who have licensed the show and are dubbing the show, are as the name suggests, an audio production company. Why it's different from Funimation is because Funimation is a production company. Audio Magic just does the dub. Cartoon Network is the one who actually has the license and provides it to them so that they can dub it and give it back to them. From my understanding, that's how it's working. In America, however, I think it works that Funimation licenses the dub, makes it, produces it, mixes it, everything, including the tracks, the titles of the episodes, the credits, everything they do themselves, and then they put it out to TV channels. Hi, so a slight addition from my part. The thing you're seeing on the left is the Nicktoons airing, and the font is clearly different from what Funimation uses to this day, which is on the right from their Dragon Ball Z Kai, Blu ray, and DVD release. So, yeah, some extra information I found out. I assume my theory is that Nicktoons was indeed doing the titles in the original airing when it happened in 2010, and that Funimation did not do the original fonts over here. So yeah, make up what you can from that. Back to the video. Now, because this dub is happening at an audio production company, they don't have the resources or the people to do the titles. Those are supposed to be done by either a different party or a different team. It's just that they're not. It's not their job to do it. Their job is to do the dub. Cartoon Network could take the initiative, but I don't think they do that either. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's no middleman or an in-between person who is doing these titles, which isn't too hard. I think they can just hire a graphic designer to do it for them. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. I'll see you in part 2 now.